It's exciting to be announced as a solo presentation on stage. I take the opportunity the next 10-15 minutes to share you the point of view we see from an industry Microsoft perspective, what is actually happening in the financial industry. So I'm excited on telling you that actually the ship have sailed out of the harbor and it left the bay, and most of you are left behind. Because most probably, many of you still think about what is the strategy for my banking, for my financial business. And so I thought I'd start by giving us a bit context on what is going on and how we think this has impact on financial industry. If you look at the trends we have in Asia explicitly on our consumers, we all learn and see what mobile first means. We all dream, believe in what e-wallets can do. We understand that actually the behavior between consumers is a direct purchase engagement between consumers. And we also understand how social is actually having impact in buying and how goods are purchased. The dynamics in these markets are also unique. We have the biggest millennium population in Asia and the biggest spending power in people's hands. And these people actually have no interest to engage with financial institutions per se, as gray-haired people as I have done in the past. They procure in a very different way and engage in a very different way. And so they look for different experiences. The only good news I would say almost to share is people, consumers as we experience, they have a sense on quality and they have a sense on security in all what they do, which is very high. Now on top of that one, that you have a consumer base which is very disruptive to the business models you have. The other piece of bad news is the technology around you is actually going crazy. They threw capabilities from a technology perspective on you, which is very tough and very hard and very dynamic to integrate in traditional business models we have seen in banks and the financial industry. Everybody wants to talk about APIs and how we connect different companies and products. We all know data is big, but nobody knows how. AI is all over the floor and everybody talks about it. And so you sit there and try to make a decision what you do with AI. You understand you have cloud computing, but still the biggest talk track for many of the banks and the industries are about regulations on the cloud computing side. And blockchain is bringing it to life where actually the engagement on getting a product has nothing to do with the engagement of paying a product or actually having a transaction. So you sit there, and I did it, and we went back to the archives and found this one. The banking is necessary, banks are not. That was a statement made actually by our founder in '94. So I thought there's a bit of a job to do to give you hope and bring you perspective on what we see modern banking is actually looking like and where the biggest challenges are. So in my very short presentation, my only goal is to land with you three simple things on what I think you want to focus on to really land on this modern banking vision. First, what we experience is consumer experience. In all industries, and I would say banking for us as customers we see as a lagger, the need is on catching the consumer in a different experience. The need is benchmarking our effort in the industry against Uber, Grab, Airbnb from a consumer experience. If you go in the way on how actually business models are working, it has nothing to do with the transactional models we had in the past. All business models for banks are demanded today to be integrated in experience which we hadn't had before. We all engage with banks most probably 80% of our time these days and do not even know in which part of the process, in which part of the transaction, in which part on what I do in a retail store, in buying a product, in lending money, a bank is really involved, or which bank is involved, or how many banks are involved. So these business models today look very, very different. Then if you go on the other side, we understand this industry has a tremendous work to do for us consumers, together with governments, to find regulations and work appropriate against given regulations. Here in Asia, I would say one of the most prominent examples we are observing is what is happening in Australia with CDR. The impact it has to comply with consumer needs and demands on the banking industry to fulfill regulation is tremendous on budget, is tremendous on their technology, and tremendous on the invest and focus banks are having. And then last not least, the risk of cyber insecurity. Banks have been known and treated as the fortress of our consumer life. So, with the given technology, there's a lot of work to do to keep that promise up and demonstrate how we keep up on that one. So number one, I thought I want to focus you on data. If there is anything on relevance for any bank these days, is it about how to have a data culture and how to have a data governance model. None of the banks are running short of data. None of the financial institutes are running short of information. Nobody actually needs more information. The single biggest point of consumer insight in any market is actually sitting with financial institutions. So there is no need to focus in a first step in really understanding where to get more data. The single biggest need for any financial institution is having a clear culture of data and having a clear governance model on how data is used. So one of these things is saying a self-serviced organization for data. How many banks, how many people in a bank, how many people engaging with you, how many services of a bank have today the capability to pull the data you need to run a service for a customer, a consumer or commercial customer? This is close to none. This is one of the reasons why it is so prominent in each decision maker, in each executive in a bank, to really have data, data culture, and data governance. To build on that one, I really enjoy fintech here. The buzz outside of this room, the amount of partners having an idea and a point of view on how they develop solutions is astonishing and incremental. It is mind-blowing to me how many innovation is actually happening and presented outside. And I applaud each single of these innovations. But look, everybody who is running a bank needs to have a platform, needs to have a mindset of a platform, not only how he's collecting information and data from their customers and consumers, but also how they run a platform to get all these applications which are offered out there on a platform within a bank. So running data, you need to have a modern platform, because only that is also giving you the opportunity to run it and bring all these new modern services to life. We had a fantastic experience with a Canadian bank. This is the #1 mobile bank. It's operating 100 million data points a day. It has 12 million users operating on this environment. This is only possible to come in this leading position because the decision makers and leaders of this bank started with a clear mindset on priority number one is getting the data state right. The next step is all what we hear here can only come to life in AI if you have this data. And AI is not new. We do it since more than 60 years. The difference is ABC. The difference is through algorithms which are capable, through the big amount of volume of data, and through the pure compute power, which is mainly in cloud, it is now possible to really run AI offerings and develop AI technology. Now, I would say the shortage of thinking at this stage is AI is only machine learning and how to use big numbers and make them smarter. It is not. It is very much not. It is actually the opportunity to bring cognitive services in a very, very different way in experiences into modern banking. And so we just recently had the opportunity a couple of months ago to be able to actually have speech recognition and textual recognition on the same quality for computers than it is for human beings. And only with that, you come to these milestones to have it as a real part of modern banking. So what we're experiencing today on AI is pretty mind-blowing. If you go on the consumer side, the experience not only having bots and telematics helping you as a consumer, but even if you go into a traditional brick-and-mortar retail bank, the capability through visual recognition to understand in which mood you are and how long you have been waiting, and just get a context to the teller the moment you show up and what you want to have. The quality of really targeting offerings in the point of your life based on your engagements on other market platforms, but then having the AI, the intelligence behind an offering. Having robot process analytics to be sure we run in a compliant way. And then on the cybersecurity side, helping companies to secure. Today we are collecting 1.2 billion data points a month on machines to make sure that institutional businesses get the insight, get the cybersecurity predicted. More than 90% of all cybersecurity protection today is done on AI, based on technology. So you understand that this AI piece, built on data, is actually a big component on how you really run into a modern banking. All this is possible on cloud. All this is possible on AI. We think we're already breaking through if you talk about e-wallet. We think we are already excited using Alipay or WeChat Pay. I actually felt excited at Cybers 3 weeks ago, where National Australia Bank showed us this very simple proof of concept they did in a couple of weeks. They showed us that an ATM machine needs nothing than yourself to give you money. It needs nothing than yourself being in front of an ATM. And now you can take that picture forward to any kind of payment experience, to any kind of retail experience, to any kind of engagement where you want to have payment. So it just shows if you do the sequences right, you get to new experiences. But look, none of that, none of our capabilities to process data, none of our capabilities to really go into the world of AI means anything if you don't have an environment you can operate in which you trust, I trust, and I build my business on. So in this environment of banking, where the bank is the fortress, you need to have a point of view, you need to have a direction and a conviction and effort on what you do in getting technology in a trusted place. You're taking it from the security side, you're taking it in the analytics, and you bring an environment where you as a vendor want to be in a trusted engagement with a partner. And then I want to touch on AI before I'm closing off. AI is in usage of everybody. AI is a piece of technology, and everybody is super proud on that technology. And we are not running short on creativity on AI. But I think it takes more. It is not about showing outside there what a computer could do. It is us jointly showing responsibility on what a computer should do. And I feel this very simple example on having a framework where you as a company stand on how you deliver AI experiences is what I wanted to show with you. And one of these principles, ethical principles we have on how we deliver AI is driving it home for me personally. There's a word called accountability. We need to have an understanding what accountability means. And I'm not taking an FSI example, but I give you an example on accountability. If you have an autonomous driving car and the car has an accident, who has the accountability on this accident? Who in the chain of delivering AI technology for driving has accountability on this accident? So if as a vendor and partner you don't have principles on how you deliver technology on AI, it means nothing for a financial institution if you're not a partner who does that. So as much as I appreciate outside there the inspiration and the technology edge, which we all need, I think for FSI, we need principles where we stand in. So by closing, I really wanted to make sure when you think about modern banking, you have your decision framework right and you have your principles right. Number one, if you want to have any banking survival and any banking product going forward, you need to have data and AI as the main agenda of your organization. Number two, if you want to stay in that business, it's not only talking about cybersecurity, you want to make sure you are seen and perceived as a trusted operator of your data, of your customers, and of your clients. And with that one, you need to make a decision. Every institution needs to make a decision. Every vendor out there needs to make a decision. One decision of these banks are, which is my technology partner? Which is a partner who is giving me the technology to actually run data, to run AI, to run trust and technology. The other decision you want to make is, which is actually a partner? Which is a partner for a platform, which gives you the platform for technology, and is a partnership in the morning, and not in the afternoon, a competitor on your data, and a competitor on your business model. With that one, thank you very much for your attention. I tried to keep that very brief and clear, but actionable. I hope you enjoyed the FinTech. Thanks for having me.